Hey everybody, Mark Agnesi here for Gibson TV. Today I have the pleasure of sitting down with rock icon, guitar legend, and Gibson signature artist, Mr. Peter Frampton. What's happening?
Hello, sir. How are you?
Oh, doing great. You in Nashville too right now?
I am indeed. I'm in Nashville.
We're both in Nashville, but we're still socially distant here.
Yes.
We got a lot to talk about. You have a new signature model of the Phenix coming out. It's actually a legacy model that's just going to remain on the price list. There it is. One of the most iconic and one of the most recognized Les Pauls in the history of rock and roll, but more importantly, one of the best guitar stories in the history of rock and roll is that guitar. So if you don't mind, I want to ask you a little bit about the history of the guitar before we get into the new model. But on the original Phenix guitar, how did you find that in a store, or how did you acquire that guitar?
I was playing the Fillmore West with Humble Pie in 1970, and we had like 3 or 4 nights. We were opening for somebody, probably the Grateful Dead or somebody, and I had just swapped my SG, my Gibson SG, for a 335. That night I played it for the first time on at the Fillmore West, and unfortunately we played so loud that the 335 just fed back. So all my solos were woo, 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 and it was very disconcerting. I was very depressed, and then I came off, and then a friend of mine came the next night, and he saw, and he said, "I couldn't help noticing you were having a little problem there." I said, "Little?" I said, every time I turn up for a solo, nothing happens, or it all feeds back. So he said, "Well, I've got a Les Paul you might want to try." I said, "I'm not sure Les Pauls. I was an SG man. But you know what? I've got to use it." So he brings it to the hotel in San Francisco the following day in the morning, brings it to the coffee shop, opens it up, and there's the Phenix. And it had just been refinished by Gibson at that time. And he had them put a third pickup in the middle because it was originally a 1954 Black Beauty. The neck was just like, it was a hand into glove, you know. And I played it that night at the Fillmore West, and I don't think my feet touched the ground the whole night. Wow. It was just, that was it. And it was made for me. But so I came off after the fourth night, and just, Mark Mariana is his name, my dear friend. And I said, "Mark," I said, "this is a wonderful guitar." I said, "You're not going to sell this, right?" He said, "No, I'm not going to sell it, but I'm going to give it to you."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Mark Mariana, my dear friend from the Bay Area, gets #1 of every Phenix that comes out.
As he should, as he should. Now, so the humbuckers were in it when you got it. Now, is it wired like a typical 3 pickup custom where you just get the middle pickup on in the middle position on the switch, or is it all custom wired?
No, it's all custom wired. I wanted to treat the selector switch as a 2 pickup guitar. So basically, if you forget about the middle pickup for a minute, the 2 outer pickups, it's just like a standard.
Neck, both, bridge, as you go on the switch. Yeah.
Except that both pickups are on the top volume.
So there's like one master volume there. So what's the second? The second volume control is the middle?
There's no switch for it. You just dial it in when you need it.
Oh, cool.
And it works so well, you know. So yeah, it's the way it was wired when I got it, and I've never changed it. So it's fantastic.
Well, this is where the story gets good, because then the guitar goes lost or missing. When and how did the guitar vanish?
Okay. We had gone down to South America in 1980, and we had played Argentina, Brazil. We came back, played more in Argentina, and then we went to Caracas, Venezuela. We played 2 shows there, and then we had a day off to travel. So that was the first time we didn't travel with the equipment, and we flew on separately and to Panama, Noriega's Panama at the time, and that's when I got my road manager came to me and said, while I was eating lunch on our day off, you know, the cargo plane that was bringing all our equipment just crashed on takeoff, all hands lost, you know, and I just thought, obviously I thought about all my equipment and everything, but when he said all hands lost,
Yeah.
That you don't think about equipment at that point, you know. There were 6 people on that plane that died, so we didn't really think about give any, you know. And so we weren't able to play the show in Panama. Road manager went down, tech went down a week later after we'd finished our tour and saw that there was nothing left. And he said, anything make it? And the guy said no. So, but what had happened was that some of the guitars had made it, including the Phenix, and they'd been sold. So I did not know that. All I thought was it had burnt up, you know. So 30 years later, I'm opening my email and I get an email and I open it up and there's a dozen forensically taken shots of my guitar, but it was taken yesterday. I said, wait a second. It lives. So it's alive. So, so I then started a communication with people down there in Curacao, which is where the guitar ended up, which is an island off Caracas. And it took another 2 years of a very gray area. No one wanted to bring it back to me because of the fear of being arrested by the FBI, you know. So, but anyway, 32 years later, the gentleman came up with the Minister of Tourism from Curacao and brought me the guitar. And there's a YouTube 10-minute video that you can watch on me getting it back and them coming into the boat. Yeah.
The guy who had it, did he know it was your guitar, or did he just buy it? Somebody had a Les Paul and he bought it. Was he aware?
Well, the person that had bought the guitar was playing it around town in Caracas for a while until people started saying, that looks an awful lot like, and so they moved, and then he got married, had his son, and when his son, that's the 30 years, his son found it in the closet and said, Dad, this guitar doesn't really play well. Can I take it to a luthier and have him fix it up? So he said, yeah, go ahead. So he took it to this luthier who was also an immigrations officer at the airport. So there's the beginning of the gray area. And he, the kid came in and said, look, can you make this playable? And so he opened it up and the guy went, ba-ding! And he didn't say anything, but he knew exactly what it was. And he said, yeah, I can make it playable for you. Let me have it overnight. I'll mess around with it. You can have it back in the morning. So he comes back in the morning and he's, cleaned the frets or whatever and restrung it for him. And he says to the kid, you know whose guitar this is, don't you? And he grabbed the guitar and ran away. So it took another 2 years until the kid he didn't like it. He wanted a new Gibson, which I'm glad it was a Gibson, So, and so he said, well, I'll give it back to Frampton, but I need $5,000. So I got it back for $5,000 in the end.
Well, this is, you were talking about the one we did in the 90s, which was basically a regular production Les Paul custom that kind of had your modifications done with the pickups. We did an exact replica of the Phenix a few years back. This new version that we just released is not a limited edition. This is a legacy model. It's going on the price list. How does this one differ, if any, from some of the others?
Well, I have to say that this is by far the finest of all the ones that were made for me. And the neck is almost on the Phenix it's not regular. It's a little narrower than that, just slightly. This time, thanks to you guys, you even went into the detail and scanned my guitar from top to bottom, and the neck is as close as damn it to the Phenix. It's so good, and it sound. I mean,
let's hear it.
this is just the middle pickup. It's like a fat Strat sound, you know?
Yeah.
But if you blend them together, just makes it fatter, you know?
Is that something that you tinker with all night?
Sorry?
Is that something you tinker with all night when you're playing? Are you rolling that in and out?
Yeah, whenever I feel like it. So it's like if I think if I make it cleaner, you can hear it. So there's the and then bring in the bridge pickup. It's really fat Stratish. So yeah, it's a smorgasbord, I tell you. It's a smorgasbord of wonderful sounds.
That's great. Now, one of the other things I think that's different on this one, I believe the last one had classic 57s in it. This new one has the new unpotted Alnico 3 custom buckers from the Custom Shop. What's your take on the new custom buckers?
I love them. I love them. They are wonderful.
Good, right?
Very, very good. Yes. Yeah. I mean, just compared to the Phenix, it's like this close. You know, it's so wonderful. This one is really, if you get one of these, I mean, I could pick this guitar up or any of the ones that come out, the production models, and would be able to play it straight away. You know, I wouldn't have to change anything on it. It would be, I mean, the frets, everything is top notch on this now. You know, it's phenomenal. I love the pickups. Those are really, really excellent. Yeah, this will be definitely something that I will use to record and to play live when and if we get to do that again.
Fantastic. Now, one other thing, you've been working with Gibson now for years on different projects. How are you feeling about the new Gibson here so far with everyone you've been working with at the Custom Shop and everything like that?
Well, I have to say that I feel a new energy. I feel a passion now. We have owners that love guitars.
Yep.
And love music. Every time I looked around on the finale tour, JC was there. You know, he's a huge fan of music. And I cannot thank him enough for doing this, because I know that the quality of this guitar is it's right up there. You know, I don't think this guitar could be any better. It's exactly what I needed.
Yeah. Well, Peter, thank you so much for sitting down with us, telling us some stories today. The new Peter Frampton Phenix Legacy model is available now from the Custom Shop. Hope to see you soon once it's safe to do all this stuff again. Really looking forward to seeing you on stage again, man. This will do for now. Yeah. Beautiful. Peter, good talking to you, buddy. Thanks for taking the time to sit down with us, man.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure.